Thank you so very much indeed for your time. Well, this is exciting, this new class of drugs to treat Alzheimer's. How much of a revelation is this and how exciting is this? How much of a milestone is it exactly?
This is an amazing milestone. It's basically a game changer. This is the first drug that's effectively shown to remove amyloid from the brain. And it's the first drug that's been passed by the FDA in the last 20 years. And it not only brings down the amyloid, but as you point out, it slows the progression of the disease in terms of their cognitive decline by as much as 27%. So that's the most exciting news about the drug. And behind it, there are a range of better and stronger drugs that are coming forward. So, the field is very excited. After several decades of failures, this is the first disease-modifying drug that we think will change lives of a number of patients.
And of course, that's what it's all about. It is a cruel disease. There are about half a dozen treatments, I believe, for this condition, but they primarily treat the symptoms. They don't address the underlying disease progresses. What can be done to sort of cure it? And are we anywhere near that at all, do you think?
I think in terms of cure, that's still a fair way away. But having said that, there are companies now looking at ways in which they can create genetic modifications of genes that cause the disease. And that's looking very promising. So I think in a decade or so, we could be reaching that phase of cure. But for now, I think we need to look at preventing and delaying the onset of the disease. And early detection is very important. What we can do now is we can look at the brain by using what we call PET amyloid imaging and pick up these changes 20 years before the onset of symptoms. So the message, I think, is the earlier we get in, the more effective these treatments are going to be. We've got to be careful that it's not a magic bullet. It may not benefit everyone with Alzheimer's disease. This drug is designed to look at people at the early stages of Alzheimer's disease. And even then, we need to be mindful of potential side effects in a subset of people who have Alzheimer's disease, who have the genetic form of Alzheimer's risk factor known as ApoE4.
Okay, I was just about to ask about side effects, actually. Do treatment effects, do they outweigh safety concerns, do you think?
So from what we've seen, they don't. But I think we've got to be very careful going forward. We don't know enough. So I think that's the bottom line. We know there's bleeding in the brain in a number of patients, particularly those who have this genetic risk factor ApoE4, if they have 2 copies of it. We know there's swelling of the brain in a large number of participants. So what's very important is when these treatments start, generally across the populations, we need to monitor it very carefully by MRI scans, for example, and also in people who have this genetic form of disease because they are at fairly high risk of severe side effects.
Okay, well, thank you so very much indeed for joining us today. We appreciate it. Rolf Martins there, a researcher and chair of Aging and Alzheimer's Disease Centre at the Edith Cowan University from Indonesia.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.